ladies and gentlemen, it's time to wrap up the first case of Apollo Justice.
Don't you mean Phoenix Wright Apollo Justice?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney featuring Apollo Justice.
Yes.
Don't you see, guys? It's great to get to play as the best assistant ever.
Starring Apollo Justice from the Ace Attorney series.
Yeah, who would have thought the day would turn out like this?
I know, right?
That's you,
Sure.
Sharon.
May I?
Hello.
Ooh, a court magician.
The law system in this place is taking a weird turn.
Hello, sir. Please pick a card.
Okay, go
That's
to
an
jail,
interesting
move directly to
introduction.
jail, do not pass
Yeah.
gun, do not collect.
Not that kind of card.
What's this all about? Is this one okay?
Excellent. I have a message for you.
You're fired.
Drink your Ovaltine. I mean, with it.
The last hand is about to be played. You'll need a trump card to make it.
Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, we have a title.
Well, part of it. A trump card?
It's really good in a card game.
Okay then. There, you said a trump card.
The card you have chosen is magical.
It's Monster Reborn.
It's the win the case card.
It's Black Lotus.
Use it wisely, and the game is yours.
Oh, so it's Raigeki.
That's all.
Apex, bye.
That's good to know.
An
Oh.
ace. Where do I remember that card from?
Hmm.
I see the name. I think the name Capcom's on that card.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, it
Capcom
is.
officially trademarked Capcom card.
Mr. Smith's harmless rig aces, and Mr. Wright's too. It is 5 aces in all. Yes, true. I seen it. 5th ace. I was cheating. I swear to you.
And it turns out she did all this just to get a Russian citizenship. The missing 5th ace.
Well.
Wait, this blotch of red. Is this blood?
Maybe it's just
Why is it like that?
Because,
Hmm.
well, because the game sort of.
Even though it looks like one of those Photoshop effects.
You have your trump card. Now it's up to you to cut the deck and draw the truth. She's worse than Kristoph. My father's fate is in your hands. I know you can do it.
Thanks, whoever you are. I'm sure I'll never see her again. This bloodstained card is my trump card for finding the truth?
Trust
Provided I
me.
get-
In this
provided I get to
profession,
actually-
it's always the last thing you expect.
Well, I fell deep into thought as my mind raced to understand what this all meant. Provided I actually get to tell the truth, because the rest of this case is pretty much turned into the Phoenix Wright show.
Yeah.
That girl, I'd seen her recently. But where? That's when I made the connection. I saw her when I was walking by.
Oh,
I
really?
wanted to unlock it too.
But why did she add a red?
Game,
outfit
stop
there?
swearing.
That's back when she was younger, Tio.
the court record.
Okay.
Bloody ace.
April 20th. Hey, the same day that... Yeah, a lot of bad stuff happens on that date for some reason.
Yeah, 420. Court will now.
Oh god dang it. That's right, the day the Nintendo Labo came out and everyone blazed.
Blazed.
Defense Attorney Kristoph Gavin, will you please take the stand?
Give him a round of applause, or maybe
The
not.
best
Alright,
defense in the
Gavin's on the
West
stand. Give him a round of applause.
is the best defense in the West, everyone!
From West Germany. Now then, if you would, Mr. Payne.
Yes, Your Honor. Will the witness state his name in occupation?
It depends on when he was born, a little bit of the West Germany link.
Is this loss necessary, Your
There you
Honor?
go. The tagline of the case. There you go.
Believe me, far stranger things have gone on in this courtroom.
True, we just ended the previous game with exorcism, so...
Fine,
There you go.
I'll play along.
By the way, he never gives his name and occupation.
What a dick.
First, there's one thing we need to have made clear. How did you know about the secrets beneath the victim's hat? It turns out we killed Leighton all along over his hat. By secret, I'm guessing he means the fact that Mr. Smith was bald.
Forgive my curiosity, but what is it about this fellow's head? Your Honor seems to have an inordinate interest in it.
Well, that broke the hypnotist's curse.
Objection!
And here we go. I'm about to just have the parts of Jover at this point.
I wouldn't call it inordinate, Mr. Gavin.
But
Oh,
hey,
we got the
thing from
objection
the first
thing.
game. That's something, right? Mr. Wright.
Just for
That's
me.
my-
You're
And
goddamn
just-
right.
Just for that, that's my favorite track in the soundtrack.
What do you think you're doing, right? I'm displaying my
mean,
objection.
I'm taking over! This is my
Wow.
game now.
I mean,
Things
it's
sure
not the
look
first
different from
time
the other
Phoenix
side.
defended himself, but,
Wow, things sure look different from the other side. You know what I mean, Apollo?
No, and why does the music sound like it came from a GBA now?
Speaking of looking from the other side, let's consider something for a second. The victim wore that hat all night, never once taking it off, except for that one time.
That one time being the instant he was hit.
Pick up there.
Oh!
oh my.
Mm-hmm.
No, someone hit the judge in the bowl underneath his desk. When Mr. Wright returned from reporting the crime, the hat was lying on the floor.
Okay.
Mr. Wright picked it up and placed it on the victim. Hey, shut up, it's my game. And
Because
placed it
he's
on the
very
victim's
polite.
head.
Yeah, that's one thing I will give this case, actually. It's like, well, parts like this, Phoenix and Apollo actually do get to work in tandem. It's more so in the finale where Phoenix really takes things over.
You would have to be at the scene of the crime at the time of the crime.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, you would have to be the real killer. Is that what you're trying to say?
And Kristoph, 100 more heat points because he stopped the theme song.
Not
Hold on.
bad, Apollo. You know, maybe we
Not
should...
bad. Not bad. You gave half that.
You
right.
just stated what was.
Hmm.
Also,
Mr. Gavin?
when he does the pose with the glasses, there should be a shiny effect because they look like they blend with his skin.
I'm afraid that I haven't been entirely honest with the court.
What?
No shit.
A witness being dishonest in the court? Shock
Oh.
horror.
I assure you, I had the noblest of intentions.
Sure.
Actually, Tio,
Yeah, Hitler also thought he was doing the world a favor.
Hey, Pedro, you know what's sad?
But
Considering the actual victim, Kristoph may have had the best interests.
Good.
Yet, I'm afraid in the current situation, I see little reason to hide anything. Very well. Allow me to tell you the truth of what happened that night.
I did it. Shit. Finally.
Well,
you
you
may, finally, you may begin your testimony. Tell us, how were you involved in the events of that fateful night? You were saying, Shiri?
No, I had to stop because,
Yeah, witness testimony that fateful night. Go ahead, Joba.
The rage I sensed in that man that night troubled me, so I returned to the club. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the little window to the hideout. It must have been right after the murder took place. The victim was dead, as he appears in the photo. A bald head, an unconscious girl, and Wright, holding a bottle in his hand. I sensed that was not the best place for me to be at the time, and so I left. And that's when the call came from Wright.
And there we go.
So, You witnessed the murder?
For better or worse, I missed the actual moment of the deed. So technically, I witnessed the aftermath.
Mr. Gavin, may I remind you that you are on Mr. Wright's defense team? Your testimony is clearly disadvantageous to your client.
Be disinvent. Let's see, go against my
no,
client
that
or
would
let
be
my
the first
client accuse
time
me of
I've-
murder. What else could I say? I'm standing on the witness stand after all.
I will not stand for this.
So you are, Mr. Gavin.
Get it, stand.
Mm-hmm. And you had to testify as you just did. You had to tell them that you saw the scene of the crime through that little window.
Mr. Wright, I'm the defense attorney
Yeah.
here.
Maybe.
Old habits. You had to say that.
Is he just ignoring me now?
Because
Yes.
that was the only probable window of opportunity. Right, Apollo?
Did you not hear a single word I just said?
Oh, I heard, but I processed the part that was actually important.
Oh. Mr. Wright, the defense should do the cross-examination, not the defendants.
Thank you.
Unless
He'll
the
ignore
defendant
that.
is the
He'll ignore-
defense.
Oh, he'll ignore that, by the way, but still. Mr.
Yeah.
Justice, are you prepared? Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright, never, can you please shut up? I can't believe I'm going up against Mr. Gavin.
I mean, it's only the first case.
This trial is getting weirder and weirder. I got usurped. What else could go wrong?
You really
Well,
want to find out.
Cross-examination that fateful night. All right, let's see what we got to say about this testimony then. At night, I sensed the rage. I went down to the basement and peeked in through the window to the hide. Get it? Hide. Hold it! The little window. You mean the one used to keep watch up the stairs? Well, I don't see any other windows, Polly.
Yes, a relic of the ancient past. The Black Musketeers used it, I believe.
Why did you go through the trouble of peeking in through the window?
Because I was
Because
bored.
he is
Because I was bored.
he's a
Wouldn't it
cop,
be easier
isn't
to just open the door and go into the room?
it? Something easy in the extraterritorial
Well,
universe.
I didn't want to upset Wright, you see.
Sure.
How would that upset him? You're his friend offering support. Upset Mr. Wright?
You need to come up with a better excuse, mate.
Yes, what if my fears had been unfounded?
Ugh.
I'd be walking in on their match. Bad form, to say the least.
People walking in and out of matches all the time.
Yeah.
So far everything he's saying makes it. No, it doesn't.
It does it?
Yeah, actually, I mean, it makes sense, you know. Well, okay, in
Press
his
X
own
to
twisted mind. But yeah.
The victim was dead as he appeared in the. Hold it! By photo, you mean the second photograph of the crime scene?
They'll be playing the cards, and then suddenly the cleaning lady comes in. No, your match is ruined. God damn it.
Especially if it ruins their concentration, I guess. Precisely.
Also,
You
this
see, he
particular
wasn't wearing his hat.
cross-examination theme reminds me a lot of Xenogears music for some reason.
Really? How so?
Checking.
The you know, it's hard to describe. I'll go later.
I saw
Okay.
his head when he was.
Instrumentation.
I saw his
or-
head when he was
He-
dead.
The instruments used and a particular part.
Ah, okay.
Can you describe the scene of the crime for us?
The bald head, an unconscious girl
Yeah, there we go.
knife
This
holding a bottle in
particular
his hand.
passage.
Hold it! Those were the only three at the scene of the crime?
Sure, why not?
Yes, as far as I saw, at least.
By the way, Apollo, as soon as we're done, you're fired.
Why are you trying to make him
Back when
French?
we started.
No, I was trying to do German.
The killer was the defendant, Phoenix Wright. Who else could it have been?
Payne did it. I mean, we never see Winston after this game, well, except for aside from the investigations games with their prequels.
But
So-
why did he talk to the police?
I think maybe he just quit. It wasn't worth it anymore.
Oh,
He couldn't
he's like
take it.
one, so
Probably retired.
And 2 reasons. First, I didn't actually witness the very moment of the crime.
Conveniently.
Second,
And I think it's back to the, oh no, it isn't.
my office was asked to handwrite. Even after seeing what I'd seen, I couldn't abandon my friend.
So you conceived the potential evidence for the sake of this.
Objection! There must have been someone else there at the moment of the crime.
Justice. I just said I saw no one. Not a soul.
Goes against what Mr. Wright said.
No shit.
Yes, this mysterious fourth person would conveniently be the real killer, I suppose. Glad to see we agree, Mr. Gavin.
Well,
Let
hello,
me
I'm the
pose a
defense attorney
question,
here.
then. Well, he just said.
Hello.
Hey, he just said one sentence,
Yeah, Apollo has
Pedro.
been talking a bit recently.
Yeah, I mean, oh no, Phoenix said one sentence.
That's a pinch of. As far as I'm concerned, Phoenix shouldn't even be there talking at all.
That's how the court works, you know. We've seen a lot of points where defendants put in a lot of word to mouth, especially for their own defense. Phoenix is just taking it a bit farther than most. Remember, Apollo, the card that was swapped out was the fifth ace.
The fifth ace. Right.
We haven't presented that yet, have we?
Not yet. Well, Mr. Justice,
Present badge.
the question of why
Yes.
the killer would swap out a card has been raised. Can you point to a reason? Yes. It's now or never. The defense would like to present evidence to the court.
The bottle of wine.
Evidence showing the reason why a card was swapped out.
Grape juice.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
just
yeah.
it's just so the defendant can have a drink of grape juice. Then go ahead and point out your reason, Mr. Justice. Why did the killer take the fifth ace?
For the
He
law.
wanted
The
his
cell
back-
phone.
He wanted a phone call. Anyway, there's a bloody ace. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. What's that red dot about? A single drop of blood marks the front of the card.
Very good.
Alright. Take that! My reason is, this.
You don't sound very
Is that
convinced,
a-
Apollo.
Ace.
Very good, Payne. Very good.
You got old stuff. Why? Why it's got blood on it?
Congratulations, Judge. You don't need glasses just yet.
Right next to the spade.
Hmm.
Bit overlapping it, but yeah. What?
I'm sure it's not concealing anything.
I see your mouth
What?
twitching there. mate.
One.
Yeah, you
This
can't
is
even.
insane! Why wasn't I told about this? Why?
Because nobody cares that you exist.
Aw.
Could this? I mean, you were replaced in the next game and no one noticed. Could this be the missing fifth ace?
So check for fingerprints.
Inconceivable! How could you?
You're,
What are you doing
Straight face
with
there, aren't you?
that card?
So you know this card.
Yes.
Well, that's the thing. Mr. Gavin's so upset.
Oh my god, Apollo, use your goddamn brain.
He doesn't want to believe that his mentor is really a killer.
It's just a fishy card from some fishy girl. So, Trucy's now a fish.
Oh, that card. It's mine.
I'm just some girl who's just some girl.
No, please.
That is, I picked it up at the Borscht Bowl Club that night after the murder had occurred. I gave it to my daughter. Cards are her stock in trade, after all.
Get it? Because he's a magician.
Objection!
That specifically is the one with blood on it. Just like here, Trucy.
Impossible. Unacceptable! The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud!
Your Honor, the witness is clearly having a stroke. We might want to.
Fraud? Now, how
Are
could
we
you
having
be
a
so
David
sure
Gatt
about
moment here
that?
with him?
Because you just told me,
What?
Fox boy.
I would think the only person who would claim it was a fraud would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene, the real killer.
You walked into that one.
I like to call it the recipe for turnabout move.
That guy's entire animation is basically channeling my reaction to Spirit Riding Free.
Yeah.
You're trying to tear your own arm off.
What is with this trace of blood?
The reason for?
The show is bad enough for us to want to tear our arms off.
Yeah, and it gets only worse from there. For the killer to take the card from the scene of the crime...
Yeah. Where are you going with this?
Take another look at the photo.
Sorry,
and at the victim's head.
Sorry, I had to think of it.
Had to think. I don't want to open my mouth and it coming out stupid.
At the moment of the crime, his head fell to the floor. I should know because I was there and witnessed it. And a trickle of blood ran down from his forehead to the back of his head. Couldn't a drop of that blood have fallen on one of the cards?
Phoenix, are you seriously pulling the chaos theory to explain this?
No,
Really?
no.
I suppose.
Or is it theory of
Not
chaos?
Apollo.
Or is it theory of chaos that he calls it? Jeff Goldblum, I mean.
The killer then took the card to hide the blood.
Just pull the Chewbacca defense or something like that.
Objection! Regardless, that evidence is non-permitted. Oh, right. Regardless of how you wasted that last 7 years, you used to be a lawyer.
We even had an entire fifth case in the
You
first
know
game.
what a serious crime it is to conceal evidence.
Hey, Kristoph, do you know about?
Oh, we can discuss the
laws
finer
of-
points of our legal system later.
Do you know about the two laws of presenting evidence that we discussed in Rise of from the Ashes, dude?
Yep. What's important now is I answered your question. What are you talking about? You wanted to know why the killer would have taken the card from the crime scene.
You see, Your Honor, this is Chewbacca. Chewbacca is a Wookiee.
And now I've told you that has nothing to do with this. I don't get it.
It's a Chewbacca defense.
I don't get it, though. What does this have to do with the Chewbacca defense? Objection!
Courtroom joke.
This is
Courtroom joke.
baseless conjecture! Baseless! Objection!
Dick.
Oh,
There you go.
I assure you, it's quite based.
Beast.
Based Phoenix. You've been doing the point again now.
What?
From a weird angle.
Yeah.
It's amazing, really.
Is it?
You might say it's a miracle. How a single drop of blood on a single card can lead us to the truth. It's quite simple.
Okay, I'll just
Apollo,
I'll just
over here.
light a cigarette. Yes?
Put that out, son. Now try picturing the scene of the crime. In your head.
Or on the screen. I'll wait too, I guess. Okay, now we're going full 3D.
Yep.
This is
It's
weird.
Ace Attorney in 3D.
The
This is
murder
like
took
Beast.
place in the hideout. The body
Well, I
of
remember
the
it's working off
luckless
the DS
victim
game.
was found
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
poker table.
Uh-huh.
And before the killer swapped the card out, there was a single card with a drop of blood on it in the victim's hand. Given this, there is one decisive problem with this scene.
There are more than that, but I'm not gonna
Well.
mention them.
Well, what is it?
Let's keep it simple, shall we? Given that there was a drop of blood on a card,
Mr. Wright, shouldn't I do that since I'm the defense attorney here?
Yeah, I'm the defense attorney.
Quiet.
Well,
Quiet.
Apollo, do you even know a lot about this card?
Well, maybe you could have talked to me about this in recess.
Maybe you
couldn't
could
ha-
give a testimony about it?
I couldn't have because I was busy talking with the judge during recess. That's why you met my daughter during that.
The
So
bloody
you
card,
sent your
where
daughter
is it?
over to give Apollo some cryptic speech?
Take that! Well, isn't it the victim's position that's the problem?
Very good, Apollo. See? You've got this.
I don't follow your logic here, Mr. Justice.
Who's
Well-
really Apollo's mentor here?
Well, look, the victim was struck on the head, sending him back in his chair.
Okay.
You'd think any blood would fall behind the body, not on the table in front of him.
Maybe they're maybe they're
Also,
pulling a Sonic.
from that perspective, he looks like an airbender with the arrows smudged.
True.
Yeah.
Maybe they're pulling a Sonic forces, and the Phoenix and Apollo are fist bumping their way to victory.
If he bled in this
No.
position,
Mm,
I don't know.
Huh?
Fist bump sounds harmless enough.
Oh, this
No,
one's a
that-
great song.
That's not the joke that I'm making though.
Actually, okay, I have a question, something on slight objection. If it's hidden by a downward blow, the rod can still follow in the position and he can still actually recline in the other position.
Ah, but here's one thing,
Oh.
Tio. The thing then there would be a trail of blood simmering down his face,
But they were
though.
and they were in swivel chairs.
That too.
Oh.
Swivel chairs? Oh man, I hate swivel chairs.
Apollo, try turning the card and chair around.
I like swivel chairs.
I
Right,
love
right,
swivel
right,
chairs.
right. There we go. The chair was facing the other way.
Yep,
Dun, dun, dun.
in
But
reverse.
what does that mean?
You'll
It would
see.
have to be.
When we join forces, Mr. Wright, the sky's the limit.
Oh, yeah.
Emma Sky. The victim's chair was facing away from the table.
Funny you mention that.
When Mr. Wright returned from informing the police, which way was the chair facing?
When I came to the room, the body was facing as seen in this photo.
Is this a Dora the Explorer session now?
That would mean the killer turned the chair back around.
Mm,
Let's take the next step. Look at the diagram once more. We know now the victim was facing away from the table at the time of the murder.
Okay, I'm just gonna eat a hot dog.
But this creates another
Go get a
significant
coffee.
again?
Oh, yes, Payne.
Payne, isn't it about time you retire before you have a heart attack and die on court?
Let's test your reasoning skills again, shall we? Apollo,
Secretly
whose
addicted to
location
it.
on the diagram contradicts our new understanding of the crime?
But I was eating this hot dog.
Not now.
Back to work.
The victims, the killers, the witnesses, the second witness? Whose location creates a contradiction if the witness or victim was here or there?
Let's say the killer. Go on, Dwibs. Take that! The victim was struck from the front, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it.
Indeed. Unless the prosecution wants to update the autopsy report.
Well, wouldn't it be hard for the killer to hit him from the front? Payne doesn't have the know-how to do that.
Reminder.
See
Payne,
where his indicator currently is?
I would like to remind everyone that we learned in Trials and Tribulations that Payne used to go undefeated longer than Edgeworth or Franziska before me beat him. I would...
Objection! Yes, but what you're saying makes no sense.
So look at the undefeated prosecutor now.
Why would the victim suddenly turn to face the wall in the middle of a game?
Why, that's a very good point, Payne.
Because he was bored.
With a game of
thought
poker.
The game was so
He
boring.
wanted a nap.
The game's so boring, the wall's bored. Just
Poker is one of the worst games for you to look away at any
Maybe
moment.
he just needed to relieve the stress and just, rotate around. What?
That's what people do when they sit in swivel chairs. They automatically start, swiveling.
There's something in this diagram that makes far less sense,
He was just
actually.
spinning around because it was fun.
Look
Yes.
again at the diagram. Now look at your diagram. Now back to me. Now look at Apollo. Now back to me. Now look at the protagonist. Oh wait, that's me. Apollo, if the victim was struck here, where would his assailant be? Try drawing it on the diagram.
what? But
Draw now with the
Not that
stylus.
draw.
this is the iOS version. There's no way to put a mark where the killer should be.
Come on, Apollo, you can do it. Don't worry. Let's think it through and see what we find.
But Mr. Wright, this is the iOS version. There are no styluses.
Then use your finger. We know the victim was facing towards the wall at the time of the crime. There's only one thing we know for sure. Try to forget about everything else. Where would the killer have to be standing to strike our victim in the front?
Let's say in the cupboard.
Yeah. What about that?
So it was hidden?
Standing, here.
Objection! You get points for flair, but that's about all you get.
Oh, now he's complimenting us.
That's
Oh, by
backhand.
fate, by fate praise. Ah, I thought I was onto something there too.
You were.
I hardly need to point out that standing there would be impossible.
Yeah, but how do you know what's there?
There we go.
The victim is facing a solid cupboard.
Yes, but what can you do inside the cupboard?
Or you
Dwibs,
claim that the killer climbed the cupboard and hit him from above.
No, it turns out the cupboard came to life and killed him. The cupboard is the killer.
So what, are we in Beauty and the Beast?
Yes.
It's simple logic, really. If this was the only place the killer could have been standing,
We explore how it is that it could be
then that
standing there, yeah.
means at the very moment of the crime.
She's literally doing the exact same
Wait,
logic
wait,
Mia
wait,
did
I
in the
know,
first
I
trial
know,
of the first
I know.
game.
This is my game, Phoenix. I want to say it.
At the moment of the crime, the cupboard wasn't there. What's this now?
Huh. I was just gonna say he actually hid in the cupboard, but okay. I mean, that's the only explanation. Right, Mr. Gavin? Your Honor, I have a suggestion for the defense. As their defendant,
You've been giving. You've been the defense pretty much.
we should arrange to examine the cupboard and the hideout immediately. So I
See, you've been
suggest.
talking like your old. You've been talking like your old self. Bailiff, send the team to the crime scene immediately.
I love how the judge doesn't even ask, is that what you want, Mr. Justice?
Captain trying to move the cupboard. Hey, do I care saying anything anymore?
Your Honor,
What?
there's one more thing your men should look for.
Your badge, because she shouldn't be saying anything.
Please give this to the bailiff.
I'm surprised Phoenix just hasn't taken Apollo's badge off him.
Yes, I see. You do belong in the courtroom after all, Mr. Freight.
Yes, I do, but but thanks to some executive meddlers and a rewrite of the script, I am not in the court. I do my best, though, with what I'm given.
But what about me?
Maybe that was done on purpose, Jova.
Who knows?
Payne is
I-
just festering.
I would not be surprised given the troubled development of this game. But let's forge ahead.
That's
doesn't
not
even
what
have
I
to be
usually
like
once
promise
that.
to do
again, it's
privately.
been changed. If the killer was standing here at the time of the crime,
The sad part is that these problems could have been solved if we had if someone in development, maybe Takumi, thought of the whole, Phoenix being the mentor thing earlier,
Oh.
Thank
thank you. As you can see, the cupboard was the problem.
Here's how I would have. Sorry. Go ahead.
At the time of the murder, it has to have been as shown here, which means...
There's a hidden passage behind the cupboard.
Now everything
is,
is in
actually.
place to reconstruct the moment of the crime, and oh my...
Oh my.
What's this?
But what is it now?
Your Honor, have you ever watched the intro to Scooby-Doo? Look at the diagram of the crime scene once more.
Well, yeah, the only thing missing is the portrait with the eyes that see you.
Oh, Tio! That game has something like that.
And I wouldn't have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those meddling lawyers.
What I believe to be the final contradiction, in fact.
Huh? Oh, dang!
Keep up the beat,
Oh,
Apollo.
wowzers.
Notice something? Our line of deduction is rapidly approaching its
You mean
logical
your
conclusion.
You mean your line of deduction? I mean, I don't see Apollo figuring out any of this.
Now then, Mr. Justice, please point to the new contradicting indicator.
Yeah. Hey, you know what Sunny Pedro regarded?
Oh, I get to do something now?
Yes.
Is it the victim, the killer, the witness, the second witness, the stalker, the shaper, the boogeyman, the candlestick maker? Which indicator in this diagram contradicts what we know about the crime? Second witness 2.
So even just
Take that! About this cupboard. Are we all okay with assuming it was moved?
Yes, Apollo, we are. Sure, why not?
That's not a definitive answer.
Well, if it was, something really doesn't fit.
It's not even just that, Joe. If I was the one writing this case, I would have written something where
I
The cupboard
mean,
would completely cover up the window to the stairs.
yeah,
Meaning that's a problem for,
yeah.
Ah! What the hell is with this? That's right! Someone standing outside wouldn't be able to see in.
That's a good point.
Someone like Mr. Gavin!
Hi, tell the truth. Why aren't you as awesome as your
Shut up.
predecessors?
2007.
Why do you say?
I like the song.
But this is aesthetic. This
Oh, is the coolest defense in the West losing his cool?
Approach.
Seriously?
It's the cool soundtrack, it's just in the wrong
Don't
place.
expect me to play along with your little game, right?
I mean, it's a fine track, it's just put in the wrong places.
It's only a game until someone gets killed, Mr. Gavin. I mean, honestly, could you imagine making a video game out of murder trials where someone gets killed?
That would be ridiculous.
And someone
Oh, yeah.
was, while the window in that way to see in through was blocked. So, Mr. Gavin, perhaps you'd like to explain to the court? Exactly where did you witness the crime scene from?
The heavens.
Oh.
Go ahead, Tio.
Excuse me, ladies, Your Honor.
Order! This is a court of law and I will have order!
We're just eating my donuts, you know.
But he said excuse me.
Just now received word from investigating team at the Bosch Mall Club.
Wow,
I
they
got
got there
5
quickly.
minutes.
Yep.
We examined the cover in the hideout, Your Honor.
Is it just on the road or something?
Oh, and what did they find?
Fucking nothing. Well, Your Honor, come on.
Come on.
Turns out there's a secret passage behind it.
Thought so.
Ruby Ruby Roo!
We used Johnny's ad as our battering ram.
Ah, yes. I believe I mentioned something of the sort before.
No, you didn't.
You mentioned a lot
Actually,
of things.
Actually, I mentioned the cupboard. This is one of the tricks to the room many of our regulars know about.
Who designed this building?
I do remember
The
him saying
Russians,
something
Roy.
about that now you mentioned it.
Damn new communism.
Batman.
A secret passage is a handy thing to have when you're engaged in illegal going-ons. Never know when you might need to duck away from the eyes of the law.
And now everybody knows about it. Good job, Phoenix.
So the room is a secret passage. Where does it go?
Don't tell me the sewer, please.
The
That's
other
exactly
side
right.
connects to the restaurant above.
Oh, thank God.
It might as well be a sewer from what we've heard about it.
The
That would be
underworld
awkward if I...
the underworld bosses could get away from the cops.
That would be awkward if the waiter has to deal with a customer who comes out of the ground.
And enjoy a cold bowl of borscht, no doubt.
And how would you react, Pedro?
I guess I would. I
Well,
honestly don't
Pedro,
know.
client's a client. Might as well squeeze some money out of it.
I'd
I
just be like,
guess.
sure, why not?
You see where our line of simple deductive reasoning has led us, Apollo?
To a
Ow.
complete cluster.
Our? You mean yours, no?
It's simple, though.
I see it, but I don't believe it.
And here I thought.
That girl wasn't kidding when she said I needed this trump card for the last hand.
This is totally still my game, I swear.
Also, yay, we have another case where the final evidence is handed us on a plate out of nowhere.
At the time of the
Phoenix
murder,
found the evidence himself for his own case from the very beginning.
See, the
window was
reason he
blocked
needed
with
a
an
Paul
open
was because he knew that Kristoph would just
we
not go this far.
for a few minutes between Mr. Smith's murder and Mr. Wright's return from calling the cops.
Bingo.
Hey, I'm talking here.
What? I just said bingo.
I'm talking. It's my game. In other words, the only place anyone could have seen the victim's bald head was from inside the hideout.
Paul's so scared that now so much as saying a sentence will get him to think Phoenix is trying to take his spotlight.
Well,
Phoenix,
Mr.
don't
Gavin,
prove.
come on, say something. Shut up.
Yeah, that's pretty much the fans' reactions at when they got to this point in the case.
There I also.
Really? From what I've seen, a lot of fans
night.
actually do like this case.
I mean, this whole thing about Phoenix basically taking over the whole
Actually,
thing.
I think we can figure it out for ourselves at this point.
I
That's
have
right.
So
whatever
worse than
reason.
Mia.
I have something to say about in rationalizing it, but I will say it for the end of the case.
No
Our
problem.
killer had a date with Mr. Smith. A date with destiny. There he crouched, hidden in the secret passageway behind the cupboard,
I didn't
Reading a
know
book.
the shipping was taken this far.
holding his breath, waiting for just the right moment, and then he died because he didn't breathe.
He forgot how to breathe.
Then the chance came, and he took it.
Good.
Oh!
Ow.
Why did you do that? Wait here, I'll get help.
Quick, Apollo, answer the riddle.
Miss Olga Orley was out cold, struck by Mr. Smith.
Angry that he lost that poker game.
But his time was soon to come. Mr. Wright went upstairs to call the cops, leaving Mr. Shady Smith alone in the hideout with the unconscious dealer. Then our killer stepped out from the secret passage and into the hideout.
Surprise, motherfucker.
The victim must have heard the cupboard sliding aside.
He wheeled his chair around to look, and
Surprise! After the deed was done, the criminals must have seen the blood on the card. He would have, of course, realized the need to destroy the evidence. That single spot of blood told the whole story of the crime.
so too bad for him he didn't linger any longer at night. If he had, he might have noticed the cards on the floor. And the fact that they were all red. Like my vest.
That's your breakdown.
No,
No, he gets
that's
a better one.
that's a flinch.
Well, it seems this trial has taken yet another turn.
This trial is a farce, Judge.
I'm truly sorry I had to see this day come, Mr. Gavin.
A farce more than the norm.
Hello? Mr. Gavin?
Senpai, please.
Mr. Payne!
Yeah, you're still in the fucking trial. Eek! Yeah, yes, Your Honor.
The prosecution will continue its investigation.
Mm-hmm.
As for Mr. Phoenix Wright, the defendant, he is hereby cleared of all suspicion.
Woo!
So, not guilty. Gyurk!
Believe me when I say that I don't believe this is happening, Mr. Gavin.
Oh well.
But I'm afraid circumstances call for me to issue a warrant for your arrest. Immediately.
Jesus, the judge is...
Objection!
No.
Oh, no need to apologize. I rather enjoyed it myself.
Two
Yeah,
trials,
it sure looked like it.
It's not every day you get to witness a legendary attorney's dirty tactics firsthand. Your point, Mr. Gavin? Frankly, Your Honor, I'm shocked.
And I don't give a damn.
But a person of your caliber would be taken in by such a low-grade parlor trick.
Excuse me?
A parlor trick, a sham. The defendant is cleared of all suspicion. That is hardly the time for jokes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright hasn't proven anyone's guilt or innocence here. What he has done is use illegal evidence to put the blame on someone else. And not just anyone else, but me, his own defense attorney.
But I'm the
Stay
defense
salty.
attorney. Illegal evidence?
Objection! Let me ask you, Mr. Gavin. Is there still any reason at present to suspect me of wrongdoing?
Yes.
Of course. This bottle, for instance.
The bottle of grape juice Mr. Wright was drinking.
It means you have terrible taste drinking it.
How do you intend to explain away the fingerprints on the murder weapon? And not just any fingerprints. Am I right, Mr. Payne?
Since when did they make bottled grape juice?
Actually,
that?
yes. The fingerprints on the bottle were upside down.
But whose fingerprints are they? I seem to recall this being an issue earlier.
Oh? The court, in this case, demand an explanation. I can think of only one reason why one would hold it upside down, and it is to hit someone with the bottom of the bottle. Well, Your Honor? Ah, see how the codfish squirms to the last. Well, Apollo,
Yes?
your boss seems awfully concerned about this bottle still.
He wanted to drink it himself.
But I'm sure you can come up with a suitable explanation just like that.
Oh boy, I got to go over an explanation.
Yeah, it's just like what? Why would anyone grab a bottle upside down other than
Maybe that's his way to grab it to toss it away.
Don't let him trick you into thinking his explanation is the only legitimate one.
Is there really another?
Take another look at the court record. I believe you'll find a simple answer there, in plain sight.
How about you say the answer in plain words?
That would
Yeah.
lead him on.
It would be hasty to deliver a verdict of unanswered questions, indeed. Well, Mr. Justice, Mr. Gavin said that the court and this case demand an explanation. Don't worry, justice won't leave until justice is done.
That line is bad, and you should feel bad for it.
What evidence? I just threw a packet of tissues at the screen. What evidence do you have to explain why the fingerprints on the bottle are upside down? Yeah, Olga's photo. Let's have a look.
Oh, he grabbed it from there.
Way over there. Take that! It's actually easier to show you than explain, Your Honor. Place that bottle on the floor next to your chair, and don't drink it. Excuse me? On the floor?
Don't drink it, it's evidence.
Yes. Now reach down and pick it up. Without getting out of your chair.
Ugh.
Yup.
Uh-huh. See? You naturally go to pick up the bottle by its neck. With your fingers upside down!
Unless you want to break your wrist.
Or maybe you want to have that thing that Jody does, where she just stands there motionless with the bottle in hands.
Look at this photograph taken on the night of the murder. The defendant, Mr. Wright, sat here, playing piano, quote-unquote playing piano, bottles of grape juice on the floor to the side of this piano bench. He would have naturally picked up the bottles upside down several times,
Very
trying
good,
to drink
Apollo.
his sorrows away.
Wow, I can't believe it was that simple.
It's like a puzzle. Recall our dinner that evening, Kristoph. I was drinking my usual juice then, too.
Yeah, it was supposed to be wine, but Capcom said
Yeah.
No, it was never wine in the first place.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
number
even
one.
the original stuff.
Yeah, that's what I meant. But then you must have remembered.
It also helps because I think Takumi said that he also likes grape juice.
That's why. It
So
was
you
always
went-
grape juice.
And picked up one of the bottles from under the piano.
Such patrician taste.
And you switched the bottles.
Now I'm wondering if Kamiya likes coffee.
You took one of Roy's bottles and made it look like the murder weapon.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Order! 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 What do you have to say to these charges, Mr. Gavin? Oh, crap.
Fascinating. So this is the legendary attorney's famed tactic of misdirection.
Not really.
What?
You claim that I switched the bottle. That is
Yes.
your proof.
Proof? Well, that's...
I sense a burden that you must uphold, Mr. Justice. As I thought, more baseless conjecture. I'm afraid your bottle of proof is quite, how shall we say, empty. Objection! I wouldn't be so sure about that.
As soon as we're done, I shall blacklist you, Apollo.
Tag in.
Oh,
Okay, then.
okay. I guess
Let's
you wanted
save...
to take a break.
Yeah, I just wanted to save... Just save the game. Took a break, edited the timeout, and... Also wanted to make sure I didn't lose the data because of my iPhone or something.
Your Honor, witness the tag team of right and justice. When you
Mostly right.
When you initiated the investigation of the hideout earlier, do you recall I requested an additional investigation? As a suggestion to my defense, of course.
Ah, yes, I have your memo about that here.
I even wrote it down so he wouldn't forget.
Retrieve the bottles from under the piano at the Borscht Bowl Club. And here's one of the bottles in question.
So what are you going to dust that for? Fingerprints too? I would be surprised if it were on that, but his.
Mr. Gavin probably wouldn't make such a novice mistake. True. That bottle won't bear a trace of anything.
That's why we gotta think outside the box, Polly. Say, Apollo,
Polly? Yes?
why
Yes.
don't you go ahead and examine that bottle?
Can I drink it?
No, it's evidence. I shouldn't have to be telling you this.
But
Just
why?
humor me. Look,
Seriously.
look, kid, I once testified against for my own case, and I had to use a parrot as a witness. I know what's going on here.
What? That's some bottle.
Let's
have a
have
look.
ourselves a look.
Around.
Oh,
What? Oh, there's the card.
There's something inside the bottle.
God, what I'd have given to have these mechanics during Turnabout Sisters.
And let's take it out. And there we go. Heart
Heart of
five of
hearts.
hearts. What's this?
Well, well, well. God, it can't be!
What's this? I don't know.
Recall that unpleasant woman's testimony for a moment.
Unpleasant.
Well, I do agree with him,
Olga
so...
Orly.
Yes, our little swindling Devashka.
Yeah.
That night, I planted the card like I was supposed to. And Wright lost the last hand just like he was supposed to. Then Smith searched him.
Mr. Smith.
But then the planted card was gone! The trap failed!
Oh no.
Oh no.
Wait, this isn't...
Are you a bit behind us?
No. Don't worry. You're telling me that this is the planet card you disposed of? This one you mentioned in this piece of testimony?
No, I could see that he was just distracted, wasn't that?
I happened to put my hand in my pocket, and I found a card. Huh, so when you get down to it, Phoenix here may be the first witness who's never lied during his testimony. Go figure.
Both in this game and in Trials and Tribulations.
Well, he kind of lied a bit in Trials and Tribulations, but I see your point. Well, I guess it makes sense, you know, who else but Phoenix Wright, our own beloved Ace Attorney. Because I'm sure the fans would totally love to see our beloved Ace Attorney deprived of being an Ace Attorney. Oops. I threw the card inside the bottle.
We're making a Professor Layton game where Layton loses Professor's tile.
The 5 of Hearts. This is the card. The bottles were swapped. And the only one who could have done that was the 4th person in the club that night. You, Mr. Kristoph Gavin!
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Oh Jesus.
Crap.
What the? Is this Dragon Ball Z?
Is he Silver the Hedgehog now?
Yeah, he's got psychokinesis.
Oh, I'm Payne.
You're here too.
That is all.
He ended
You
like
have
that.
your answer.
That shit-eating green.
Yeah.
Is your
Yep, he ripped his
idea
arm clean off.
of revenge, Mr. Phoenix Wright?
Revenge? Wow, I said that at the same time the judge did. I forgot that line came ahead.
Or the events that took away your attorney's badge 7 years ago. My past is like my logic, straight and true.
Jova, the true...
Arguable.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah, very arguable.
All I did was point the finger of justice in the proper direction. Here, Apollo, point your finger this way.
Ow. Stop pointing my finger.
Fine. I'm glad we could have such a tete-a-tete, Mr. Wright.
Hey Jova, maybe we could pull a Sonic Adventure 2 and have the tagline be the truth about 7 years ago.
Don't take it to prosecute anyone.
No, you don't.
Oh,
Me
Payne.
and Apollo are gonna have a few drinks about this trial after.
Yeah. I didn't get to defend anyone.
Oh, wait, you did get to defend me.
You defended yourself.
Oh, come on,
my
you
God.
did great
Time we
against
finally come to
Olga.
the end of our trial. Mr. Payne, do you have a report for us on Kristoph Gavin?
He's admitted everything. We're processing his arrest now.
You really need to
I see.
change your line of work.
Still want us to wonder why he would do such a thing. Oh, by the way, Mr. Payne, don't do this again, please. I worry for your health.
Yeah.
He didn't even have a connection to the victim, did he?
Not that we know of. So...
Mr. Wright, have you anything to add?
Actually, I do. Like, usually at the point of this point, shouldn't someone question the lack of a motive?
Normally they would have, but we had all the proof we needed, so motive was just at this point a complimentary dish.
Jova, I may remind you, there have been several trials in the past. kinda fixated on the motive despite having enough proof.
Well, the thing with
Although
the
for some reason he has a clear vendetta against
Yeah.
Phoenix still.
the
I
difference
hope
with
for him to be sure, Traveler, and that's all we know about him.
the difference
Oh, no,
between
it's
this
funny.
and those trials, Tio, is like, well, with those trials, we didn't have, concrete evidence, otherwise stating, like basically here we have like
7
everything
years,
completely
and you still
bulletproof.
haven't lost, and you still haven't lost your touch.
Yes, it's Kojima.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Let's pick up the guy who already had his trilogy.
Yeah. Basically, Tio, the difference between this and, say, something like Reunion and Turnabout is like, well, with Reunion and Turnabout, while we did show a clear way, we didn't prove that Eenie Meenie was the only person who could have possibly killed him. We just showed a very clear way. Whereas with here, we've locked it down so that Kristoph is the only one who could have done it, and Kristoph himself knows he's cornered and doesn't want to drag things out longer for a certain reason. So, yeah, we win. For now. First was a place where no injustice would be done, the toilet. The second was a man who would tolerate no justice. In other words, a defense attorney. You, Apollo.
Yay, I helped!
A dark
That's supposed to
time
be
is
the
coming
character.
for our legal system. There, I only said it once.
Uh,
There
A
you-
storm is coming.
there you go, and
There
I-
you go.
Hey, Dwibs. He put away a criminal, and I helped.
A twisting of justice brought on by our very own
Well,
court.
actually, Chover has a point. We only say it once.
And we have to set it right. Yeah, this is one thing this game does do better than Dual Destinies. Not many, but let's just say that's gonna come back a lot in the next game. Our work lies
A
ahead of
lot, a
us,
lot.
and I, for one, am looking forward to it.
And then he's benched for the second and third cases.
Yep.
Well, this seems like a good time to announce a verdict. This court finds the defendant, Mr. Phoenix Wright,
For the third time,
not guilty.
Jesus, that's booming.
I think the only one who's been...
fucking loud, Jesus.
Well, we gotta emphasize the victory, y'all!
Adjourned.
I think the only person who's been... Apollo, I think the only person who's been accused of murder more than me is my assistant.
Which one? You've had like E.
The first.
Okay.
Thanks,
Well,
Apollo.
I like this thing, actually.
It's nice, yeah. You came through, just like I thought you would.
I'm pretty sure I didn't do a thing in there.
Thank you. You see, no, I'm sorry. The joke is not funny if it actually reflects the problem.
It was you who cornered
Again,
Mr.
Phoenix
Gavin.
is worse than
the
Mia
killer.
in this regard. It's really
for the
annoying.
I
It's
couldn't
for-
have
it's for-
done it by myself, though.
It's for the same reason that joke in the first episode of Korra doesn't work, because you're putting out a problem. Whatever.
Okay, let's,
Ability.
that was,
Oh yeah,
I
one
don't
thing.
know anything.
Anyway, I mentioned one thing.
a sensitivity I lack. You'll come to understand it soon enough.
One thing I'll say about this soundtrack doesn't sound like any Ace Attorney game I've ever heard before since this one. It's the sound fonts and everything.
Yeah, that's actually
That's
one of my
because this
primary
was the first
issues.
one made for the DS, so yeah, they had updated sound mechanics and whatnot, whereas the past three were GBA ones upgraded to sound DS-esque.
Not just that, but the composers of this game, from what Jovas told me, have been composed before and since.
Oh, they
And,
have. One of them
they
has.
have?
I mean, like, one of them comes back for the 3DS games.
isn't Wadere
right?
Oh,
isn't Wadere doing the music for the 3DS game?
well, yeah, Pedro, but Iwadari has some help. Like, he has,
Oh,
the guy whose
he did.
name starts with a T, who did the music for this game, who does certain tracks in the games, and some other one.
He was full of questions without answers. Most of them about Mr. Gavin.
I'm still glad Iwadere came back after this, though,
Oh,
because
me
I think
too.
Iwadere does better.
I agree. What possible reason could he have had to commit murder? That's a very good
Yeah.
question. Perhaps you'll learn that in the days to come. And here's where it becomes obvious. Hey, guys, remember how in Trials and Tribulations we had to deal with a criminal who Phoenix really used to trust but turned out to be evil, was put away the first case, but it's kind of obvious we're going to learn more about later? Yeah.
Well, to be fair, the other comparison that I can think of is the Symphony of the Night, Castlevania Symphony of the Night. We're opening with the end of basically a period before starting anew with a different protagonist, which then ends up finishing the process of what happened at the beginning. I get the
True.
idea of this case. It's just that it's so unbalanced in favor of Phoenix.
Yeah, and
Your
because...
daughter, right?
Yeah, and let's just
Also,
say...
again, that card given to you just like that. Like, it's a free candy. There you go.
Yeah,
Eh?
but it looks like our dear Russian scam artist saw me. So the truth is, this locket really did belong to him.
Wait, but that's perjury!
Oops.
You testified! You said that locket was yours!
I said no such thing, actually.
Huh?
I merely said that it was a locket with my daughter's picture inside.
True.
A subtle distinction, but a distinction nonetheless.
More like a loophole.
Yeah, it's subtle, but it's there, therefore it's true.
And that's the truth. Tio, loopholes in the legal world. I would have never imagined.
Hooray for technicalities. Wait,
Yay.
but then why?
Why
Why
not?
was the victim wearing a locket with a picture of your daughter inside it?
So many questions that will not be answered for sake of foreshadowing.
Sometimes the straightest path to the truth isn't the best one. Give it time.
What
Give
a-
it time to.
More
Yeah.
tissue throwing.
You're still
Yeah,
just
that's not
getting
an answer.
You're still just getting started with your career.
It is an answer, it's just not the one you were hoping for.
Speaking of which, I may be out of a job. I work for Gavin Law Offices after all.
Oh yeah, thanks, Mr. Wright, for putting me out of a job.
I still can't believe I just saw Mr. Gavin get led away in handcuffs.
Well, you're welcome for me helping you catch a
So-
killer.
So
Apollo.
Phoenix's real motive is he didn't want to see anyone else in his spotlight, so he orchestrated all
Ahem,
this-
Apollo, how about coming to work for me?
Hey, you mean at the Ryan Co. Law Offices?
Yeah, then I can be your
So-
mentor for
Do we
reals.
get to see Charlie
I
even
mean-
more grown?
Yes.
I mean, there's not a single attorney in my generation that doesn't know it.
I can't imagine that to be true, but actually, Phoenix, you became a lot more popular over the years.
Wait, but didn't you... You're not a...
Oh, I turned in my badge, yes. I'm not an attorney anymore. Much to the
Which makes
ire of a
sense,
lot
son.
of fans.
That incident 7 years ago. We'll get to that in case 4.
You know, Jova, now that you mentioned that, you know what this whole Phoenix not an attorney
That
thing reminds
legendary
me of?
trial.
What?
Reminds me, don't worry, I'm not gonna spoil anything. It reminds me of a certain discussion between the free of Aang's children in Korra. You know the one.
You know, it's funny
Yeah.
how... You know, it's...
Let's just say they do a similar thing with Aang in Korra.
You know, it's funny. This
The case
game...
reached its sad conclusion and he left law for good.
You know, the best way to describe Apollo Justice is like, well, it has a lot of problems I have with sequels that involve familiar characters, later down a gap of years, to which point you don't like those characters. This game shares a lot of issues with the likes of Legend of Korra and Last Jedi with what it does with its older characters. Some stuff I really, really do not like. But anyway, there was a single piece of forged evidence.
Forged evidence? What are you talking about?
I'm talking about evidence that shouldn't have existed. A naughty magician's trick.
One piece of evidence struck me as odd. It's true. It just seemed, well, too perfect.
Von Karma perfect?
I'll bet this was the forged evidence. The badge.
Yes, the badge is a fake.
The swearing card.
Take that! You mean this, don't you? I got this from your daughter, Mr. Wright.
By the way, you can't date her.
I know.
Yes, that card couldn't have been found at the crime scene.
Besides, why do I want to date?
Why? Because the killer took it with him when he left, leaving the wrong card in its place.
Luckily for us.
The court can't accept this evidence. It's a fraud!
Turns out it was indeed a fraud.
A fraud? How can you be so sure?
It's literally the Sonic Adventure 2 fake emerald thing, because you just told me, Fox Boy.
I would think the only person who would know the difference between a fraud and the real one would be the one who took the real card from the crime scene. the real killer.
Gasp.
My verdict was already handed down 7 years ago.
The truth behind don't worry,
Ben,
we're gonna have an entire case dedicated to
really-
what happened 7 years ago.
Oh yeah, we will. Yes, I forged this card. One look at the crime scene should have told you it wasn't real.
But you can't do something like that and call yourself an attorney.
Do I look like an attorney to you? Who's calling themselves an attorney, Apollo?
So it's true.
So your attorney only when it's convenient to
The
you.
rumor is true! Yeah!
Jesus, Apollo, stop being a fanboy.
7
Hold
years
on.
ago!
Never meet your heroes.
None of that matters much now, does it?
It's because of the reason why he lost his badge too. You'll see.
Yeah. Trust me, I was raging as much when the
How can
shirts
you say
came
no
out.
to those puppy dog eyes? Oh,
Apollo, calm down.
the fuck, man.
I punched him.
Yeah, just pretend he has a bruise.
And he tanked
So,
it.
this is one of those things where if this game was made on the 3DS, we would have had an animated cutscene showing it, but unfortunately at the time we couldn't.
It's your story
Also,
from here.
thank
Oh,
you.
I love that line! It's your story from here, Apollo. Perhaps I can help you turn the next page.
Oh,
There you go.
Bullshit.
That describes
Can you
this
stop
pretty
talking
well.
like this, please?
My office's address. Drop it in if you like.
Phoenix Wright, blurry blur blur.
If you punch me again, the offer's off.
This is the Joba, this is the end of Sucker Punch all over again. This was never my story. It's yours.
Oh, and about your uppercut, Ryu hits a bit
It
better.
needs some work.
Try yelling, "Take that!" next time. I find it packs a little more punch.
Ha 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 ha. Punch.
And Apollo, thanks for today. I had a good time. Now I'm gonna go tell Ryu that he has some competition in the punching
That's-
You know,
department.
for
This
someone who
is a
just
fun day out in court.
for someone who just got punched, you seem quite undazed.
Let's-
That's another thing that I have with this case. Phoenix is always completely calm.
Yeah.
That's how
Never
my first trial ended.
other than that.
As for why he's come to you, that will get explained later down the road.
No, I can
Yeah,
understand that. It's just that, well, it's not fun.
A lot of mysteries went unsolved,
Yeah.
and at the time, I had no idea they were all related.
Don't
The
worry,
re-
Taylor. The 3DS games will make up for that.
The reason why Phoenix was relatable entertainment in the previous game because it was like this. If you remove that, you just have a blank slate.
Okay,
Connected by a single thread of logic.
without spoiling Teal, I'll say this right now, he's still scared inside, but that's all I'm gonna say.
Soon enough. My name is Apollo Justice, attorney at law, and this is how my story begins.
This is my story. Listen to
Finally.
it. Listen to it too. This might
Oh,
be our
and,
last chance.
And
Final.
Phoenix Wright is in this.
Carnival's Corner.
Yep. Well,
Alright,
that was
alright,
turnabout.
Trissy.
So that was turnabout Trump. We'll talk more about the case individually at the. For now, join us in the next part. We'll begin Turnabout Corner.
Alright.
All right.
See you then.
See ya.
See ya.